Sometimes the world doesn't end with a bang, it ends quietly, inside you. This is the story of losing everything, and still finding a way to breathe again. Stay till the end, because what breaks you can also rebuild you. And if stories like this touch your soul, subscribe for more life stories that remind you, you're not alone. The night smelled like rain and regret. The city lights flickered through the cracked window of a one-bedroom apartment that had once been filled with laughter, books, and the warmth of two hearts beating in sync. Now, it was just another room where echoes lived. Daniel sat on the cold floor, staring at a photo frame that refused to let him go. Her smile was still there, frozen in time, his wife, Elena. She had been gone for 3 years, but grief had no calendar. It returned whenever it pleased, always uninvited, always merciless. He used to believe that time healed, but time didn't heal, it just taught you how to hide your wounds better. He hadn't painted in months. The brushes lay dry, the canvas untouched. Once, his art was his heartbeat. Now, it was just a silent reminder of what he'd lost. People said he was talented, that his paintings spoke of life, love, and dreams. But after Elena died in that accident, words like dreams became foreign to him. He lived on autopilot. Wake up, breathe, pretend, repeat. Sometimes, he wondered if he was already dead but too stubborn to admit it. Every morning, Daniel stared at the mirror, searching for the man he used to be. The confident artist with paint on his hands and fire in his eyes was gone. What remained was a shadow, tired, hollow, drifting. He worked part-time at a bookstore now, avoiding people, avoiding life. The smell of old pages comforted him. They didn't judge, they didn't ask questions. But every evening, as he closed the store and walked home, he could feel the emptiness growing louder. He had stopped talking to his friends. He told himself he was fine, but even silence can be a lie. Then one day, something unexpected happened. As he was closing the bookstore, a girl about 16 approached him. She had messy hair, big brown eyes, and a notebook clutched to her chest. "Are you Daniel Gray, the painter?" she asked. Her voice trembled with hope. He froze. No one had called him that in years. "I used to be," he muttered. She smiled shyly. "My name's Lily. I saw your painting at the gallery, the one with the broken umbrella. It made me cry. It felt like you knew what it was like to lose someone." He didn't know what to say. He had painted that piece after Elena's funeral. It was the only thing he couldn't sell, but somehow, it found its way to the gallery. Lily visited the bookstore the next day, and the next. She talked a lot. About her mother, about school, about how she wanted to learn art. Daniel didn't want company, but she didn't ask for permission to stay. She would sit in the corner, sketching quietly while he arranged books. Sometimes, she'd show him her drawings, shaky lines, uneven shapes, but filled with raw emotion. Something in her reminded him of his younger self, the boy who believed art could heal. He didn't tell her that sometimes, it also destroyed. One evening, Lily said something that shattered the wall around his heart. "My mom used to paint too," she whispered. Before she died. Daniel froze, the weight of her words pressing down like a storm. "How?" he asked softly. She looked down. "Cancer. Last year." There was silence, thick and suffocating. Two souls broken by loss, sitting in a bookstore surrounded by stories that didn't have happy endings. For the first time in years, Daniel felt something. Not joy, not peace, but connection. The next morning, Daniel woke up before dawn. The city was still, sleeping. He walked to his studio, dusted off the brushes, and stared at the blank canvas. His hands trembled as he dipped the brush in color. He didn't know what he was painting, he just knew he needed to. Hours passed, and for the first time since Elena's death, the room felt alive again. When he finally stepped back, the painting showed two silhouettes, a man and a girl, walking through rain, holding a broken umbrella together. It wasn't about pain anymore, it was about surviving it. Weeks turned into months. Lily became his student, but in truth, they were teaching each other. She learned art, he learned to feel again. They painted together, sometimes in silence, sometimes while laughing about nothing. The world outside didn't change, but inside, Daniel's heart began to heal in quiet fragments. He started sharing his art online again. One night, he posted a new piece titled, "I Must Go On." Under it, he wrote a simple caption, "For those who are still trying." The post went viral. Thousands of strangers commented, sharing their own stories of loss and resilience. For the first time, he realized, maybe pain wasn't something to escape, but something to transform. But life, as it often does, had one more test waiting. One afternoon, Lily didn't show up. He waited all day. The next morning, he got a call from the hospital. Lily had collapsed at school. Her heart condition, something she'd kept hidden, had worsened. When Daniel reached the hospital, she was lying pale and fragile, tubes and monitors beeping around her. She smiled weakly. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to stop painting again." He took her hand, tears burning his eyes. "Don't you dare say goodbye," he whispered. She laughed softly. "Promise me, you'll finish the painting we started. The one with the sunrise." He nodded, choking on his words. Lily passed away 3 days later. Daniel broke again, but this time, differently. It wasn't the silent collapse of before. It was an eruption of grief, rage, and love all at once. He screamed, he cried, and then he painted. For days, he locked himself in the studio, pouring every drop of sorrow and beauty into his final piece. When it was done, he titled it, "I Can't Go On." The painting showed a man standing alone at the edge of a storm, holding 2 umbrellas, one broken, one open, as the sun began to rise. He displayed it at the gallery, next to his earlier work. People wept in front of it. It wasn't art anymore, it was truth. Months later, on the anniversary of Alina's death, Daniel visited the sea. He carried a small canvas, Lily's notebook, and a jar of ashes, Alina's and Lily's. He sat by the shore, watching the waves crash against the rocks. The wind was cold, but his heart was warm. He whispered, "I can't go on." Then he smiled softly, "But I will." He scattered the ashes into the sea, watching them disappear into infinity. For the first time, he didn't feel alone. He painted one last time, a sunrise so vivid it seemed alive. He titled it, "I'll Go On." The painting went on to become his most famous work. People didn't just see colors, they saw a journey. It wasn't about surviving loss, it was about learning to live with it. Daniel started a foundation in Lily's name, the Broken Umbrella Project, dedicated to teaching art to orphaned children. He traveled, painted, taught, and healed others the way he had healed himself. Each time someone asked him where his inspiration came from, he would smile and say, "From the people who left me, and the people who stayed long enough to remind me I could still love." Years later, when Daniel was old and gray, he returned to that same bookstore. It had changed. New shelves, new faces, but the smell of paper and ink remained the same. A young girl approached him, holding a sketchbook. "Are you Daniel Gray, the painter?" she asked. He chuckled. "I used to be." She smiled shyly. "Your story changed my life." Daniel looked at her, and in that moment, he saw a reflection of his past, his pain, and his purpose. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Then promise me one thing," he said softly. "When it gets hard, when you feel like you can't go on, paint. Write, cry, do anything, but don't stop, ever." As the girl left, Daniel sat by the window, staring at the sunset. His hands trembled as he whispered the words that had carried him through a lifetime. "I must go on. I can't go on, I'll go on." He smiled, closed his eyes, and let the light touch his face. Somewhere between sorrow and peace, he finally understood, life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just keeps going, and so must you. If this story touched your heart, share it. Someone out there needs to hear this today. Follow and subscribe for more stories that remind you, pain ends, love remains, and hope always finds a way back. Sparkles, because even when you think you can't go on, you will.